to bring an interesting story. It has to do with New York going socialist, but it's okay because they're using prison labor.
Okay, great.
Let's talk about it. So, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced on Monday during a press conference that the state will start producing, on its own, 100,000 gallons of hand sanitizer a week to be given away to schools, prisons, and government agencies, as well as the MTA. The product, NYS Clean, costs $6 a gallon to manufacture and is made at Great Meadow Correctional Facility in Washington County. So it's slave labor is helping us get our sanitation. And I was listening to a little bit about the beerdemic right before the show started, before we went live. And turns out that it's kind of like next to useless. It's like if you're playing an RPG, hand sanitizer is sort of in between a secondary and a tertiary objective in terms of how effective it is, because it's mainly an airborne disease. So if you catch the air and then put it on your mouth, or you touch a surface, so that's really one. If you touch a surface and then touch your face, but you're probably in the same air that someone was breathing that had it. So,
well, also like skin-to-skin contact. They're saying that a lot of it is communicable via family members, right? People who were in close contact with regularly.
But the family members are probably breathing on you first before you touch them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here's what's disgusting about this. We're trying to fight this horrible beerdemic, this COVID-19, and we're using prisoners who are being paid 65 cents an hour to make this product. That's probably useless. I mean, because there's no vaccination yet. There's no cure.
Well, actually, there is a catch to this.
Oh, what is the catch?
This production of the state of New York's state product is also attempting to combat the price gouging. So that's an interesting point that I will admit is a little bit decent on this. Can we flip my camera? Oh, sorry. So, and that is that, and we were talking about this literally in my class right before the show, that the big thing is that there's always people that are war profiteers. There's always people that are profiteers on pandemics. In every situation there's someone that's doing that. And so what are people doing? They're jacking up the price of hand sanitizer for people who think that's, and like they're basically saying that, look, the reason that they're telling people to wash their hands and have hand sanitizer is that people like to feel like they have some amount of control in the situation. Whereas again, it's like maybe a 5 or 10% shift in use that is happening from this. So the hand sanitizer is a floral bouquet, scented, and contains 75% alcohol as opposed to the average 60%. So they're actually making a product that's a little bit stronger. But again, they're using slave labor to produce a product that is really a perception product. It's alleviating people's fears. And I think the best part about this issue, which again, there's all the things I mentioned are horrible about it, it's helping price gouging. That's like the only positive I can see in this.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and the fact that the hand sanitizer is in and of itself a little bit of a placebo type.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not doing anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
tertiary.
It's tertiary.
Yeah.
So let's even say, let's be nice. It's secondary.
Right. So here's something that I have a problem with, and that is, how far have we fallen as a country that we are doing this to people who are basically working for basically zero wages? All right, 65 cents an hour. That's not enough, and we're creating this false hope that this hand sanitizer will somehow, I guess, make people mentally feel better. That, oh yeah, don't worry, you'll be protected from COVID-19. No. That's not how this works. There's no vaccination. There's no cure yet. We don't have it available. We as a society have to really start looking at ourselves and how we treat our fellow citizens. In the United States, we have the highest amount of incarcerated people in this country. I mean, and in the whole world. And I'm sickened by the fact that we're doing this to human beings, and then at the same time we're assuming that this is okay. How far have we fallen as a country and as a people that this is all right to do? And you know what? There somewhere along the line, there's a price that's going to be paid. Because I'm still taken aback by everything that you just read, Daniel, and I'm just thinking, well, where else are they doing this? Are they doing this in Maine? Are they doing this in Massachusetts? Are they doing this in Florida?
By the way, but
it's only in New York, but I guess it's okay to treat prisoners like this, and also same time too create false hope that this hand sanitizer is going to save everything. It won't. It's a joke.
But remember, Kit, Medicare for all is a pipe dream. Instead, we're going to use slave labor to make hand sanitizer.
Daniel, I
that
can
really
top
work.
you on that
Okay,
one,
let's
guys.
see.
Guess what? The vaccine. Hey, we can't make it free. What's wrong with you, huh? Paul, you want a
Oh,
free
that's a good
vaccination?
point.
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
look, free vaccination for polio, whatever, socialist. But we got to think about, profits. And so that the health insurance agencies and industries can actually, make a fair profit and have an incentive to make a cure. But we have to make sure that people have to pay for it because we can't take care of the people. Madness and stupidity. That's where we're at right now.
It's shameful how underprepared the United States healthcare infrastructure is to handle something like this. We need all kinds of things, including like federally mandated sick leave if you contract the virus. But that's the kind of thing that profits must continue. You must come into work even if you're sick, even if everyone is going to be infected with this thing. If you do that, it's really the other thing that bugs me about this is from the very beginning I've been saying. The way that this has been handled by the news media and by our government is they've taken every opportunity to smear China for this. Like, I have to look this up. I forget who this was. I was reading this earlier today. But some elected official was chastised for referring to it as the Wuhan virus. Basically just like saying, oh, well, it came from China, so it's their fault. And, I've heard people speculate that China made this in a lab so that they could infect people with it. And it's like, none of that's true. The World
does it
Health
make
Organization repudiated countries like the United States for not having adequate enough health care and specifically called out the excellent efforts that took place in China to handle and contain and develop vaccines and basically handle this crisis. Now, you can disagree with the actions of the Chinese government. You can call out specific things, but to counterfactually try to claim that they did this. I have a friend in China who messaged a group chat of college friends yesterday, and he was saying, you guys, stock up on food and be prepared because it doesn't look like your government is ready to handle this. This thing is about to be over here in China, and it looks like it's just getting started for you guys. And I was like, I think that you're probably right.
And this is
I
a
would actually
perfect
disagree.
breeding
I
ground.
think it's going to continue in China. China's just like, hey, it's fine. But again, how do pandemics wear themselves out? They infect enough people that they kill the people they're going to kill, and then everyone else is naturally immunized because they lived through it. And then with most things that are not rapidly mutating viruses such as measles or smallpox, we make a vaccine and then we give that to our children, and then no one has the issue anymore. The problem is these rapidly evolving vaccines. But again, it's a disease that you will not show symptoms for a long period of time after you're infected, that breathing towards someone will get them to catch it. It's highly contagious, and the older you get, the more dangerous it is.
Yep.
Now, we've had some variations on that, and it has to do with how the immune system responds. For example, when we had the Spanish flu during World War I, which killed more people than World War I and World War II combined, it actually was the worst for people in the prime of their life because the way that the body responded, it over-responded and would fill the lungs with fluid and you die from that. But this is one where the opposite's happening, where the younger you are, the less of a risk it is, but you're still carrying it. So, for example, they were saying that if you're in school and all the kids get it, they're not going to show symptoms. They're going to know when all the parents get sick.
Yeah, and another thing too, and I think a final note for this is that, Covfefe 19, it is nature at its finest. It's the thing is about humanity. We're a species just like any other organism on this planet, and we're sharing this planet. And nature always has checks and balances. And when there's a species that becomes so dominant, nature will always, do that automatic check, and that is, okay, time to put this species in balance. It's how things are. And one day the earth will shake us off like a bad case of fleas. And we have to understand that if we're not prepared for something like this, we could look at a lot of people passing away because certain countries are not prepared. Most notably, the United States. We are not prepared for this. We are a perfect breeding ground for this horrible
We actually
pandemic.
even go further. We incentivize the people of the country to act in a way that spreads it.
Yeah.
By not letting people that are sick
Get health care.
get health care, and by not letting any of that happen. But
The cult of work, too.
the cult of work. So then, in addition to all of that, this is something that either people are fear-mongering or they're saying not to worry about. But again, the truth is that it's out. It's not going to
It's
stop.
here.
It's here. It's going to burn through the population. And there's another aspect I should mention with this besides just age.
No cure.
Well, besides no cure, and that is that it really seems to be affected by complications very heavily. So they were saying, I think in China, that much older, like I think they were like 65 or 75 or 85 or older, one of those groups, which I think is pretty big spread. That in China, that if they didn't smoke, their risk of death was like 2%, and if they did, it was all the way up to 8%. And so they could say if you're obese, if you have diabetes, if you have immune system
issues, yeah.
anything of that nature, it's going to be even worse, and it's going to affect you if you're younger. But especially, like this is a disease that's going to burn through a lot of elderly people on this planet.
And you want to know another thing, too, about this disease is that it doesn't care what you believe in or who you are or what you believe in politics. I mean, it doesn't care what country you're from either. This is an entity of nature that we have not seen in a long time. And humanity as a species, if this is ever a moment where we have to come together and actually work on finding a cure, this is one of those moments because it's already here, it's worldwide, and if we don't put aside our differences and actually fight for a better future, I dread to think of the cost.